Hello everyone. As I promised, this is the first video of my devlog where I will create a game from scratch with no code uh, to release it on Steam and hopefully get some money. Each asset I use will be counted to to say and that how much money I spent. For example, today I'm going to start with $146, which Game Creator 2 costed me. So I'm using Game Creator 2 for no code development, and also we will be using, or I will be using. Some assets from Cincy Studios, specifically Fantasy Kingdom. Oh no, not Fantasy Kingdom. Sorry. Polygon Dungeons and modular fantasy hero character, both for $150. So total $446 from the start. Actually, I bought it cheaper when there were sales, and 2 years ago they were 2 times cheaper. So 2 times cheaper plus sales, I got them probably 4 times cheaper that day. I now just have a huge account with all these assets that I'm going to reuse some from my old project. So what I did to my old project, as you can remember, if you know about me, if you saw my videos on this channel, I actually have a working demo published to Steam. It's named Demon Source. Demon Source on Steam. Yeah, so here it is. You can download demo. It's built also with no code. It's kind of working well, but it lacks the little bit of juice to make things like perfect, to be able to satisfy needs of people like me, to create cool builds that when you are like making something and wants to share this build with other people because you're thinking that you will prog the game and you are like super cool. So it's a little bit straightforward in that way, and I'm going to rebuild it to make it to add that juice into my new project. And I have 173 assets bought when I used to do that project. So I'm going to make new one, just reusing them. So let's start. Here's my old project. I left all levels I made, but all systems, including inventory, combat, character controllers, were completely lost. So I only have level prefabs now. And we need to recreate it. So let's start from the almost very beginning. Let's start from the new scene, just for you to know how to make things working, starting from the very scratch. So I'm gonna name it main test. And here we have, what do we have in the main test? We have main camera and directional light. First of all, I need some levels. From the Cincy Polygon Dungeon, I'm going to steal some assets. I actually have them in another scene, but you can easily use one of the examples. Battle test. Yeah, here it is. So yeah, here is the part of the level I need. I'm going to copy it. So if you don't have it combined into one object, you can just find the scene you want and do this stuff and then make a copy. But after that, you will need to make sure that no other stuff is included. For example, you see there is some door prefabs that are included but not the parent object, so you need to delete that, and also the camera and a bunch of other stuff I don't need. So yeah, just simple copy, just simple paste. Paste, I said. Yeah, and here we have the level. It looks awful because we have the directional light that we need to delete, and it still looks, you know, probably okay, but I think it's too bright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the lightning environment and change the skybox to one that I love. Oh, yeah. Actually, I love that, but usually dungeons are more dark. I wanted to create a game actually when if you have no light around you, you don't see anything. But the trick is that in that case, light stops being realistic. For example, for each object that maintains lightning, you have like the limit of its range and the limit of the reflections. Therefore, if you are making the intensity to 0, you don't see like anything at all, but in the real life you will see at least something. Therefore, I love adding just a bit of intensity to mimic these leftover reflections, these weak reflections. Yeah, I think even a little bit more. Oh yeah, and I'm always using built-in renderer pipeline because it's much harder with the URP. FX is much better, but since I'm concentrated on the gameplay, I don't think that FX for me is important much, but for the overall representation of the game, built-in pipeline is much easier to use, especially when you work with point lights. If you have open world with just one sun lighting the whole scene, the URP is better. But if you're just like me, making dungeons, just to limit your levels and spend less time making levels, I highly recommend built-in. So we have boss arena and the main camera. Now we need our player character, and let me see if I can find it somewhere. And it could be tricky because usually you need to create character object and then add a 3D model to it. But then the 3D model will be placed not ideally. But I think we can try to the right way, the way game creator was intended to do. To stabilize the point I'm creating the game object, I'm usually created as a child of something else. Yeah, I have a lot of other childs here. Oh, and that's not all. Okay, let's say Ctrl X let's say Control V. Oh, good. Note you can copy paste object to make it spawn at the same position. So I have a game object here. I'm going to add the character component. Here it is. Or you can, if you have game creator installed, you need to press game creator, characters, and characters. So here it is. And now we need a 3D model dropped here into the animation tab. You will probably need to expand it. Let's lock it so we can simply browse our content. Under the fantasy hero characters, I have prefabs here, and that one prefab I'm interested with. Ba-ba-bum. Here it is. So we have it. We have it here. I'm now adjusting the height. And now, as you can see, all that was under that game object is now presented within the mannequin parent object. So here it is, modular characters, modular characters, modular characters, modular characters, and here it is, modular characters under the mannequin. And I can say that he is controllable now, but to make it actually controllable, we need to press that checkbox. Okay, and let's say that it is player main. Cool. So what we need next, we need the camera, and we are using the game creator, and therefore it somehow connects to the camera. Therefore it will be better to actually create a camera using the game creator creation tab, and here it is. The difference is that unlocking it. The difference is that for the usual camera, you don't have physics reincaster and that script, so I just don't want to search it with manually, so I did like that life hack. And we also need the camera shot. Camera shot, it's a set of the settings for the camera. So we specify that this is the main shot, so the main camera will automatically use it on the beginning of this on the scene. We're making the third person Soulslike game, so we need to use third person camera shot, and then let's press play. And we have our character moving, but there is one thing that I failed to do. Sometimes prefabs have some scripts integrated to them, and here it is, character randomizers. It works perfectly, but we don't need it. He was the reason why character actually wasn't displaying. Wait a second, what's okay, you see the main way doesn't work. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a usual way. So I'm going to place the character, unpack it, remove randomizer, add object to the same place, name player main. Then I'm going to add character property. Okay, so cool. For some reasons, my previous problem I had here is fixed. So now with just simple drag and dropping, we have our working and moving the characters just in 15 minutes. That's the magic of Game Creator and Unity. And it's really nothing special about it. The special things is going to start in the next minute. So we have a character, we have the camera, but I actually don't like the camera I use, so I don't like the basic angle of it. So let's fix that. Let's go to the simulation and set the parameters we want. So we need to fix our main shot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run a simulation. First of all, I don't like the range of it, so we need to have mean distance a little bit different. So here it is. Okay. When I set it up, I need to, so all changes will be reverted as they were before you press the play button. And now we have our walking player with the camera. Now we need some basic interactions. So let's add object interactions just to show you how they usually work. For example, for the Soulslike, it's very important to roll dodge enemy attacks. Therefore, we are going to create trigger. Let's say input on input button, keyboard press space, or it should be not input, yeah, on input button, but not press on keyboard release space, because in the Soulslike you roll dodge when you release the space button. And what we're going to do is to add the instruction and actually dodge. So dash, we say that player dashes to the moving direction with some kind of velocity. We're going to adjust it. And now we need an animation clip. I actually have them. It's usually kind of a huge work to find good animations for you, so I made it before that video. I'm going to use animations from my Night animation pack. So animations, protector, animation root. We always need root animation because it contains the movement. And for the movement, oh, dodges, yeah. Usually you need to unpack all animations from here because game creator has their own animators. You actually don't need this. You need animations themselves. It can be done with a Control D. So yeah, I pressed Control D, and here it is, the copy of that file. But now it's separate, so you can actually alter it. I'm not going to use it now. I'm going to use the one I used previously. So animation backward, protector dodge forward, protector dodge leftward, and the right. And also, usually when you are dodge rolling, you have some invincibility frames, so you can set. Oh, sorry. So you can easily set player invincible. And let's say the duration of it is 0.25, so I think 0.50 should be fair. We are not checking the checkbox wait until complete because we want to make that counter started and that command to dash play at the same time. And let's test it. And here it is. Wow. Almost perfect. But it's a little bit too long distance. So it will be fair to make it like this. Yes. Yeah, I think 6 is the good one. So let will be 6. Oh, I made a mistake. I actually need a separate interactions prefab. Let's say that space dodge. So the actual controller will be space dodge, and that one will be named interactions. Okay, cool. So we have our player, we have our camera set, we have like basic interactions and the ability to add it. Now I'm going to add a very simple enemy to the scene, just to start working on the enemies. And the thing I want to worry from the very beginning is the targeting. So we are going to implement some kind of not advanced, we are going to implement the basic targeting, but comparing to the other tutorials, it will be really advanced. So what do I want to do? That I want to find the model of enemy. I actually have one perfect candidate. I always start with it. It's the character skeleton soldier. And I'm going to unpack it. Here it is, prefab unpack, and then I'm going to create game objects on its place. Say that it's skeleton enemy 0.1. I love to add versions to the prefabs, therefore I can track how very good it is implemented. And we need the same character asset, the same character script as on the player, with the difference that, yeah, it is actually not a player, so we don't need to check this text box. But checkbox, by the way, if I check it, or if I say the command to switch player to that one, we are going to control that skeleton same way. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to... okay, that doesn't work that way. No worries, we have our game objects on the right place. We're going to add a soldier, adjust the height, and here it is, the skeleton soldier. So the targeting. a very tricky thing. What we're going to do is to add a new interaction, name it targeting. For the targeting, we need the button to start targeting, to stop targeting, and to cycle our targets. So for the skeleton enemy, okay, let's just do it. We create empty object. That's my way I implement it usually. You can find your own, but I think that one is simpler. Okay, the simplest one is the cycle target. Let's say trigger, input, an input button, keyboard press, and we need tab, cycle target. So cycle the next target. That's simple. Usually a game creator has targets for each character separately, so we here need to specify that we're cycling to the next target of the target candidate of the player. And that's it. It won't work if you are not targeted. So for the starting targeting, we need a trigger, input button, and it will be the button Q. And here we actually will also need the button Q. Why would we need two buttons for the same feature, right? I don't know how to make it better than the way I am showing to you, but that way will work perfectly for you. So what I'm going to do is that on the starting the targeting, I am first of all cycle the closest target from the player. Then we need to change the pivot of the player to make it look on the target. And it should be somewhere here. Yeah, set character rotation, so the player should be facing look at target, and the target should be here under the characters, combat, characters, target, player. Okay, then we need to actually lock our camera on that target. Therefore, we need to change the camera shot. And okay. Oh, let me probably. Yeah, it will be better to use that command. Change shot to another one. We even can set the duration of the change. But I won't do that, I think, for now. So what do we need is that under the player character, because it will be under the prefab, so you need to use the object within that prefab to be able to actually work with it. We are going to add a camera shot and say targeting mirror shot. I'm placing it under this object just to make it under the one like folder, and we need the lock on type of the shot. And when I'm locking on, we need to specify the target we're looking on. So let me see. Anchor player is toward direction. Okay, I will cut it. I will cut it. Let me cheat a little bit and see how we made it here. So yeah, for the camera shot, we need look target is being set to target. Mean distance, smooth time should be the same. Player should be local toward direction, and I also have some numbers. I found some numbers that are good for it. So yeah, here something like this. Oh no, minus 4. So when we're starting targeting, we are changing the main camera shot to that one. It should be 0.2, for example, quad in. And then we need to set some objects active. Set active and set active. So I'm going to have that object active and that object's inactive. So let me think. When I'm pressing the Q and at the very beginning we don't target anything, so that one should be disabled. And when I'm starting to targeting something, I should firstly enable stop targeting and then disable start targeting. So that's it. That should work. Here we need to make probably the same thing. So for the stop targeting, we clear target. Clear target. Then we are changing rotation on player. And now player should be not looking on target. It should be what his basic movement pivot, motion direction. Yeah, motion direction. Sorry, it's here. Pivot delay, target, direction. Pivot motion direction, yeah. And then we need to change our shot. We can use revert to the previous shot because we usually will have a basic shot not under the player main prefab, but revert to the main one should work fine. Let's add some duration to that switch, and then we need to copy and paste this one. So when I'm stopping targeting, I want to enable start targeting first, and disable stop targeting second. Yeah, something like this. To make our enemy actually targetable, we need to do one more step. Let's say logic and add targeting and add enable on C. Let's say trigger and we're not going to, let's say on start, we need to add target candidate, and the target candidate should be that character, and the target candidate should be for the player. And now, just to test it, I'm going to duplicate that skeleton, press play, and let's see how it works. 1, and we are locking on, and the camera moves with us. I'm pressing the tab, and I'm locking on another one. Tap, tap, Q. Okay, so I don't like the angle. Let me fix that. So for the targeting camera shot, I need to add some rotation. Yeah, let's say 20. Let's say 20. And that it will work as intended. I even can dodge in the 4 directions because I cared about that. Imagine what will happen when we will be able to actually hit them. And the coolest thing about it is that enemies can have the target, can have you, the player, as a target, so they will be able to also move around you like you're moving around them. So that was the basic setup of targeting. But in the real game, we will have some complications that we need to care about now. Otherwise, we will have just broken logic from the very beginning. So imagine I have 100 enemies on the level. Probably some of them won't be spawned, but those who will be spawned could be spawned in other room, and therefore you don't see them, and therefore you can target them. So because of that, adding a candidate on the very start is kind of bad thing. I'm going to disable it for now, and the quick way to implement that is to add, not here, but to the object that actually renders the texture. In that way it will be under the mannequin, this one, skin mesh renderer. So you're disabling it, you don't see the model. I'm going to add a trigger, and with that trigger I say on become visible, executed with game object is attached, it becomes visible to any camera. So yeah, that one we need. And only if it happens, I'm added a candidate. Here it is. And let me delete another skeleton enemy just not to yeah, here it is. And also we can add imagine you run from the enemy and that enemy can't see you anymore. Therefore I'm going to modify that one. I'm going to say on trigger enter. Oh, sorry, on trigger exit. Oh no, not on the trigger. Oh yeah, on trigger exit player. Yeah. We need remove target candidate. From the player, we need to remove that character. But as you see, we need to specify trigger. Therefore, I'm going to add collider, the spherical one. Here it is. I'm going to set it as trigger and make the radius, for example, 9. I think it should be enough. So when we'll be moving from that sphere, let's just test it quickly, we will lose the target. But as you see, we lost the target. So but the things that we specified here haven't happened. I need to press button one more time to actually fix that. There is a fix to that. I'm going to tell about it. The fix that is very interesting actually. I found it here in the section of game creator. There are in the installs there are melee examples with the targeting, and here we have a very nice piece of code that indicates the target we are using. That one. This is the target indicator. It works on late update. It sets active sphere to it sets the sphere active if the target exists, and then moves on every frame self to this target. I'm going to copy that and use it in my project. Let's say interactions targeting. Let's add a sphere. It should be a simple game object. Yeah, here it is, sphere, and we're going to make it 0.2, I guess. 0.2, 0.2. Yeah, something like this for now. Oh, let's say it's 0.3 just to make it visible, because we actually can have some issues later. You will see. So it's now not just sphere, it's a targeting sphere, and on the late on the trigger on a trigger and on the trigger of late update, it's going to set itself active. Let me find my notes on that. Yeah, it's going to set itself active, and exist. Yeah, that's right. And that is going to move. We need a change position. So it's going to move. It's going to move self to the global position, but not of the vector 3. We need a game object position, and that game object should be character target, and it should be a player target. So that's it. Therefore, when I'm creating two enemies, even if I'm disabling the sphere, okay, we need to actually enable the sphere. Oh, we need to remove collider from it. I'm sorry. It's for some reason it's been disabled, so let's force it to be enabled. We can just duplicate that command and make our sphere enabled when we start targeting, and I think we don't need to disable it when we stop this. Let's see what will happen. Here it is. Here is our sphere. And here is the sphere moving from object to object. Okay, cool. So what we have now is that when the target doesn't exist, we should make this sphere up here. Do you see? When I left the boundaries, the sphere became not active. We can use that. We can use that in the way on loose disable targeting. I'm going to add a trigger and say on disable Let's see if it works that way. We can say on disable, run the trigger, stop targeting. Let's see if it works. And yeah, it worked. So what happened? The sphere sets itself active as long as the target exists, and when the targets stop existing, it says, so when the target stop existing, sphere becomes disabled, and on disabling that object we force stop targeting. So that will also work when you kill your enemy. Therefore, you can just on the kill remove the candidate, and the targeting will be off. I'm now working on the solution to not actually remove it, to disable it, but to also add cycle. For example, if I am leaving my target boundaries here, but I have another target candidate here. But we will cover it in more advanced videos. So for now, we have our player walking, our player dashing, and our player targeting on the multiple enemies as much as you want. So I can even make a lot of them. And the targeting will work, should fine. I'm now pressing the tab to cycle targets. Nothing special. Of course, you can change that sphere later to be, for example, a 2D object that is just highlighting your enemy. That's like not hard. And the final thing, we need to set this sphere disabled. So here is our basic but kinda expandable targeting systems, and we have our first version of player, and for the skeleton enemy. To make it the prefab, just drag and drop it to your project. But for now, I will do a lot of changes. And I don't need it in other scenes. So for now, let's not do that. That's all for today. Thank you very much. I hope if you're working with a game creator or just want to implement the game, I hope it was helpful for you. Just to remind you, today we specified that I spent $446, and the whole work on this, including that video, cost me around 2 hours. So yeah, 2 hours of the project, or without video it will be 1 hour, I think. We have our scene, player, and enemy was targeting. So we will move as fast as now in the future videos. Stay tuned and subscribe. Bye bye.